Testing. Okay, so now the mic's working. All right, so now we can edit this. But if I take this and make it live, okay. The stream will begin shortly. I am setting it up. If you are rewatching this, don't you worry. The stream will begin in 5 to 10 minutes. Actually, no. The stream will begin in 3 minutes. Bear with me if you are watching this. I'm going to put this up here for now, and I will come back in 3 minutes to start the live stream if you are rewatching this. All right, if you are rewatching, I'm going to start the stream now. So we're going to give it a couple minutes to go in. You can skip ahead to about the 10-minute mark. Should pick up right about that point. I don't want to make you guys rewatch a bunch of nothing. So I am taking the stream live as we speak. Let me get this updated. All right, we are live. I'm going to give everything a couple minutes. We are live at 5 minutes and 45 seconds if you are rewatching. I'm going to give people a few come in. I will kick off the show at 8 minutes. So you can skip ahead to 8 minutes for the beginning before I can edit this out. Still waiting for the peeps to come in. It's been quite the day, that is for sure. Let's see. Slow start today. We're 30 seconds in, still nothing yet. But yesterday we had 100 and something people. People want to catch this. Should be live. Should be open to public. Public, yeah. No restrictions. Give it a minute here. Oh, here we go. Now they're starting to come in. Okay. Give it another minute. Wait for more people to come in. Who do we have today? Let's see. William. Welcome, William. Yeah. 183. I want to say this morning. I think I saw it get down to 183. Bitcoin took a massive dump last night. We'll cover all of it. It followed Bitcoin. It still hasn't decoupled yet. All right, I'm going to give it another 30 seconds. Try to give it to the 8-minute mark here and let people come in. Who else is hopping in here? Who else we got this morning? It's all right. You don't have to talk. I like it when people talk, but you don't have to. It's okay. Happy Friday from Maryland, William. Yep, bought more XRP. I was like, thank God we got it for under $2. Yeah, most of the market is looking at it the other way, William. We're here for the long haul, so we look at it as a sale. A lot of people are looking at it as the sky is falling, unfortunately, but it is nasty out there. We're going to cover that too. We're going to cover the overall market today because it's not pretty, to say the least. All right, we're past the 8-minute mark, so I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. A couple of us in here so far, but it will grow. It always does. Yesterday was awesome, by the way, wasn't it, William? I think we had like 125 people in here yesterday going at the end of it. So let's go ahead and get started. Good morning, XRP Army. Welcome back to the channel. As always, if it's your first time here, kick back, relax, enjoy yourself. I'm not going to ask anything of you, but if it's your second time, you need to hit subscribe, smash the like button, chat, comment. I love speaking with all of you, and I appreciate every single one of you. So without further ado, we'll hop into it, and I'm going to cover the chart first, like I always do, but we have quite a bit of stuff to cover. I am going to cover the liquidity crisis that is unfolding right in front of us. I'm going to cover the Bitwise ETF inflows, which ties into it, and I'm also going to cover what we have coming next week because there is a lot confirmed. So we are going to take a look at everything. But first, as always, we will start with the chart and context. Let me pull that up for you here. So in today's chart, we had a nasty pullback last night. We got all the way down to 181.6. Currently, we've recovered up to 195. So why did we pull back so much? It was painful, but it was very easy to see coming. Unfortunately, this is all because of Bitcoin. I'm going to pull up Bitcoin here for you. And I'm going to touch on one other thing with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin pulled all the way back to 80,600. And there's a couple things. I don't have it to pull up here for you. Unfortunately, I wish I did. But two things I want to point out. One, the change in wallets in Bitcoin is starting to concern me, which is normal for profit taking and everything. But when the large, how do I put this? The whale wallets are shrinking while those holding less than one full Bitcoin is increasing dramatically over the last 1 to 2 years. So essentially over the last 2 years, the whales have been offloading into retail. And I think we're starting to see the liquidity and the volume of Bitcoin starting to unravel. And I say that with proof. I do have a receipt for you. If we pull back the all-time of Bitcoin, sorry, my phone's going off. But if we pull out the all-time of Bitcoin, if I take this just all the way out, I want you guys to see something very important. If it'll go that far out, it won't. Shoot. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, here you go. All time. Boom. I don't want the whole year. I want the whole thing. Okay. I want you to pay attention to this. I'm going to draw a line for you. It's very important. So bear with me here. I'm going to draw a trend line for you. Let's see. We're going to start here. Come on now. Trend line. Let's go. Lines, trend line. Boom. All right. We're going to start here. And we're going to go follow this line here. This is the volume of Bitcoin and the participants of Bitcoin since its inception. You can see over here the volumes of Bitcoin were massive, and it has done nothing but decline while the price is going up. What does that tell you? It tells you this area here is very hollow. So that being said, I wouldn't be surprised when Bitcoin collapses, because I do think it will. I do think that it will. When Bitcoin collapses, it's probably going to pull down to this 30,000 mark. That's just my guess, but it is not looking pretty for Bitcoin if you actually look at the data and the volume decline in Bitcoin since its inception versus what's happening in the markets right now with this decline and what happened here with this run up since 2023. This is all hollow. You can see it on the chart, and that is scary because if this collapses, everything's going with it. Just letting you know. And I want to give you guys some very real information, not trying to spread FUD, but that is definitely something I saw that ties into the decoupling of Bitcoin from XRP. So this is why we crashed. You can see it, and Bitcoin is still taking a dump. It's at 84,800. So moving on, I want to pull up our ETF. So the Bitwise ETF went live yesterday and did not do well as far as its price goes, right? So let's get out of the 4 hour again. Let's go back to our 1 hour so we can actually see yesterday. So we pulled up, it took a dump when it came out, and we had a massive dump overnight, but it is pulling back up today. Now, the important thing when we're talking about these inflows, because this is for context. The price is for context, because ultimately we do not care about that. What we care about is the inflows, what's actually happening with XRP coming off of supply. So I'm going to pull this up for you here. This is straight from Bitwise. Let's take a look at what they did. Let me pull this up for you and get off the chart. Let me switch back to Bitwise. There it is. Pull up Bitwise. Yesterday, they pulled off 53 million XRP valued at over 107,000. So again, 53 million XRP was removed from the supply in 1 day, because we looked at this yesterday and it had a million. Remember? So I did a short yesterday. So we went from 1 million to 53 million XRP in 1 day. So keep that in mind for context. This is 2 ETFs now. 3 if you count the Rex Osprey. So this is 3 now, taking millions and millions of XRP out of the supply. This is what's happening behind the scenes that is not reflected in the price, guys. So hang on a second. Let me pull this up here. Come on. Oh my gosh, my mouse is lagging. What the heck? Hope the stream's not lagging. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up. So we're out of that. So we're talking between the Canary Capital ETF that happened last week, right? We showed it already pulled 130 million XRP off of exchanges. In 1 day, Bitwise took 53 million off of exchanges. Okay, Bloomberg analyst came out, James Seyfried. Also, I follow him on Twitter, but this is on the Coin Republic, and I'm going to show it to you right now. But Bloomberg analyst came out, and we have confirmation of Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, and Grayscale ETFs all going live on Monday. So that we have 2 We have two ETFs. Two ETFs already in a week have pulled 200 million XRP off of exchanges, and they are baby players compared to Grayscale and Franklin Templeton and Wisdom Tree, which is still unconfirmed. The mass amount of XRP that is going to be removed from exchanges is growing by the day. I know the price is falling and I know it looks scary, but you have to understand the macro context that's happening right now. All right. We move to the fear and greed index here and we take a look at what's going on with that. We're at an 8 now. Okay. We were at a 16 yesterday. This is bad for the global economy, everyone. Bad, bad, bad. So we've been talking about recession and we've been talking about an AI bubble and in previous streams. All right. We are in recession. The country's population is in recession. The stock market doesn't show it yet because it's propped up on the AI stocks like Nvidia and Oracle and those things going on right now. That's why Nvidia just had a 5% surge after it beat earnings and then dropped like a rock. And as soon as it does, the S&P 500 follows because all of the gains from the last year are sitting in the AI stocks from the S&P 500. So as soon as those start going, right now we're feeling it in the crypto market, and that's because of liquidity issues. And I'm going to pull that up for you right now. We've been talking about a liquidity crisis for the last 2 weeks. Well, finally, other people are starting to catch on. New York Fed convenes banks as a 6.6 trillion quarter-ending squeeze tightens liquidity. New York Fed quietly met Wall Street dealers over money market liquidity strains and the SRF usage. So SRF is the overnight repo, okay, that they use for liquidity. Basically, the overnight repo is when they come in and say, hey, we need to borrow some cash. And they're like, here's the cash, okay? And the rates of that are getting astronomical, which means there's not a lot of cash available. So when we see the use of these repo markets, that's what they're talking about to ease the pressure from quantitative tightening. That's what QT stands for, is quantitative tightening, which we are about to move into, in my opinion, quantitative easing. I know this is boring, okay? But the point is, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York met Wall Street dealers this week to discuss signs of tightening money market liquidity. Officials focused on how their key repo backstop is working as short-term funding costs edge higher. New York Fed convenes dealers on standing repo facility. The New York Fed convened primary dealers of the sidelines of its U.S. Treasury market conference in New York. Officials briefed the banks on recent moves in short-term rates and asked for feedback on the standing repo facility, which aims to cap spikes in overnight borrowing costs. So let's take a look at the repo market and see what's happening. Where is it? I had it pulled up here. Oh, did I pull it down? I can find it for you. Hang on one second. Let's take 2 seconds. We will pull up the repo market and I will take a look. Let's see. I'm going to share it with you so you can see me pull it up right away here. Repo markets. All right. Where's the New York repo markets? Oh, come on. New York repo market. There it is. Okay, here we go. Let me share that for you. We're going to pull up the repo operations right now. So all you have to do, you can pull this up yourself. Easy information. New York repo market, top 1 repo operations. And you can pull up this nice little chart. And it'll show you exactly what's happening with the repo markets. So this is the security types. It tells you, and it can tell you the usage. All right. So the higher this is, the more strain there is for cash. We haven't really seen this utilized or any strain for cash since COVID. And you can see that it's ramping up here. This is 2005, 2020. Right here was COVID. This area right here was COVID. And now we're over here. You can see it starting to ramp up. Here's since, boom, July 2025. We had that huge spike in April. And then now we're starting to ramp up again. So again, repo markets are tightening. They talked about there's less than a 40% chance of a rate cut now. Okay. So repo markets are tightening. There's less than a 40% chance of a rate cut. They had positive jobs data come out. They came over 119,000. So 119,000 jobs were gained while unemployment went up. It came up higher. It was 0.3% higher. That's why the market took a massive crash. If they fart in the wind the wrong way right now, the market decides it's going to drop 20 points. It's just how it is. It could be because everything is balancing on the edge of a knife with those tech stocks. We are on the precipice, I think is the right word. We are on the precipice of a market collapse. We just are. And XRP can fix that. That's what Jake Claver calls for. That's what a lot of people call for. But in order for the utility to be turned on, we need the Fed master account and we need the supply shock, which is what we are all hoping happens, especially when we're talking about 3 massive ETFs going live on Monday, as well as 200 million XRP coming off of supply in the matter of a week from 2 ETFs. So I do think there is a good chance for supply shock, and there's a lot of pain in the markets right now, and I am not a believer per se in Jake Claver's theories, but what he predicted is kind of coming to pass as we're watching this unfold. Just not financial advice, just my opinion. But the liquidity stresses he was talking about happening exactly at this time are happening. We also have ISO 20022 going live tomorrow. A lot of people think that can have a major impact on what's going on. I personally don't think that's going to have a major impact on the price. But right now, I think the fear and greed and the liquidity problems and mainly the jobs data changing the probability of a rate cut in December, I think is what the main reaction is to this, along with the liquidity issues within Bitcoin that we pointed out. And unfortunately, the entire crypto market is still coupled to Bitcoin until these inflows say otherwise. But I am almost done with this. So get the questions coming in and we will move on to the next side, guys. So make sure you are interacting because I plan on keeping this going this time, just like we did yesterday. It was fantastic. So again, to recap, all right, I'm going to pull this back up for you because I like my receipts. To recap, we have confirmed from Bloomberg 3 XRP ETFs going live on Monday. Again, Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, and Grayscale are confirmed. Well, now he says expected confirmed here. These are all expected by Bloomberg's Jeff Seifried to launch on the 24th. Again, it is up to the exchange, but they have their tickers and they are listed. So it's just a matter of if the exchange makes them live or not. So we have 3 ETFs supposedly going live on Monday, big ones. Also, we had, to summarize, we have 53,743,000 XRP leave supply in one day thanks to the Bitwise XRP ETF. Remember, the Canary Capital XRP ETF removed 123 million XRP in its first week. So they've already hit half of it in one day. I understand the price is falling, but you have to look behind the scenes and see what's actually happening. XRP is being removed from supply. Ginny, it was great to pick up a little more at such a nice price. Yeah, it was certainly cheap. That's for sure. I think 160 might be on the table if Bitcoin keeps dropping. If we don't have a change, I think 160 might be on the table. That's our next level of support if 180 falls. Just so you guys know, I haven't covered the supports and stuff lately because we've been focusing so much on the ETFs and the macroeconomic pressure. Because really, when we're teetering on the line of a recession, resistances don't really matter. I mean, if we're being honest here, with how much liquidity is being pulled from the market right now with Japan and everything. And this liquidity transition all started when Japan came out and said they were going to hike its rates. I think I'm actually going to cover that more in depth again for people next week as we move into this. If this liquidity crisis continues, I'm going to cover the reverse carry trade more in depth for you all. I know I've already done it once, but I think there's a lot of new people who need that information because I definitely believe it has a huge impact on what's happening right now in our market. Just catching up, when you say that if Bitcoin declines, everything's going with it, do you mean the whole crypto world, XRP included? Freaking out a bit. I mean, okay, let's be honest with you. I'm not trying to freak you out. Let's start off with knowing what we hold. Okay, let's know what we hold. XRP is a utility asset. Its value is going to be determined from its use. Okay. Adoption is happening. Right now, the price we are seeing, in my opinion, not financial advice, is noise. We will not see the real price of XRP start to form until it is used. Okay. It's kind of like the idea of buying a collectible car and parking it in the garage, right? But you can't drive it. That's what XRP is doing right now. Okay, it's a Lamborghini in the finance industry that these people are putting into their garage, but they can't do it yet. They can't use it because it's not insured yet. All right, insurance company hasn't said they're covered and they can use it. So that's what's going on with XRP right now. So yes, it is coupled to the speculative crypto market right now, which is Bitcoin. Because let's be honest, Bitcoin is not a utility asset. It is digital gold. It is the form of a digital pet rock. Its value is determined by who is willing to buy it. And if you're just catching up, because we do have more people coming in, I'm going to pull this up here as we're talking about Bitcoin, because I think a lot of people are scared about that, and I don't cover Bitcoin very often. So excuse me, I coughed. So as you guys can see, I'm coughing. I don't need to explain that. So when we pull up Bitcoin, I did this earlier. I'm going to pull up the all-time chart and show you guys. This is the chart I pulled up for Bitcoin a little bit earlier in the stream, people, just to summarize, okay? This is the all-time chart of Bitcoin. If you look at the volume of Bitcoin since its inception, all time, and what has happened, it has been a steady decline in volume. And what's happened since right here, 2023, okay, well, December of 2022, beginning of 2023, all of this increase from 17,000 all the way up to nearly 130,000. Look at the volume, okay? This is hollow pricing. This is being held up by leverage and a few individuals. Now, people are holding the asset, okay? But my point is if this starts to fall, there's no real support volume for Bitcoin. Like, truthfully, if you look at the grand scale of it, there's no real support volume for Bitcoin till about 20,000. So if we have a massive crash, you could expect Bitcoin to fall below 30,000. I mean, it's very, very, very possible. Again, not financial advice, but I want you to see the facts, okay? Now, that's why I said if XRP is going to happen, like Jake and a lot of other people expect it to happen with this massive, spike up, it's because of utility. And what their theory is that XRP's utility can save them from this, right? This is the beginning, okay? This is Bitcoin. This isn't the S&P 500. This isn't the AI bubble. All right. So if this pops, a lot of things can go. And yeah, XRP could go with it. Now, the theory is that a lot of people have that XRP will save it. Do we know if that'll happen? I don't know. But the timeline's lining up. It's going to be an exciting couple 6 weeks. But regardless of what happens, I'll get out of here because I want to talk to you guys directly because this is important. Regardless of what happens, we know what we hold. And we know that the use and adoption is happening. We see XRP leaving the market through ETFs, okay? This is what's going to cause the shortage of supply and the price to go up eventually. Yeah, price is dropping. Let's see what we're at right now. And again, people think I'm crazy because I am completely undeterred by the price. So yeah, price is at 196 right now. But that being said, we had 200 million XRP leave supply in a week, okay, during this crash. So that's my theory of Bitcoin and why. I don't have the exact reasons behind it, but I like facts, figures, data. And if you just look at that chart I showed you of Bitcoin, it's not pretty. Let's see here. So let's take a look here. Let me catch up on the chat. So thank you for that, Quelly. I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I'm trying to give everyone the honest truth of what I'm seeing. I'm not here to feed you lies. That's not my intention. Moving on, William said, yeah, but, he was talking to Janine. He said, yeah, but Janine, that just means we get a good price to grab more XRP. Sorry, I meant to send that to you quietly. Oh, and I just expanded it for the whole chat. All right, let's see here. Considering calling your bank for a loan, but that means I won't get it till next week. Blockchain backer. It's looking more and more like the blockchain backer was right again. 589 incoming. Game over. You know, it's those things. I mean, that's the possible potential of XRP and why we're all here excited for it, because of the potential return on investment. And when you're buying XRP, you know, at $2.50, $3, and you see it go to $2 and you lose a third of your money, yeah, that's painful to watch. Okay. And it's scary to watch when you're seeing Bitcoin, you know, falling to the floor when you can see that there's no volume behind it whatsoever. And sorry, my mic is all jacked up. You can see there's no volume behind it whatsoever. What else do you guys have today? How's everyone doing? Let's keep it going. Let's take a look at, let's see. Yeah, keep talking. I want to talk with you guys. Let's see what we got going on here. It's kind of slow today. People are scared. I understand. There's a lot of fear with the market crash, and rightfully so. A lot of people have their, you know, no one likes to lose money. And, you know, it's scary for a lot of people. And I feel for every single one of you. I mean, I'm watching my bag go down too. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the Bitwise XRPF there. Bitwise ETF and see what it's doing. We don't want the 1 minute ticker. I want to look at the 15-minute ticker. Are you guys on the stream hearing me okay? Everything going well? My Robinhood's not showing up anymore. Is the internet good? Connection good? Can someone give me something here? You guys coming in okay? Okay. I think I saw Brad Garlinghouse post about a turkey trot towards Thanksgiving. Hopefully that means things will look up next week. We can hear. Okay. Oh, there it goes. Robinhood went down for a minute. It just came back up. That's weird. I lost Robinhood for a while. So I thought I lost my internet or stream quality. It is raining here. So if I'm a little glitchy or whatever, I don't know. Sometimes it messes with it. Robinhood is slow lately. Well, you know, every time Robinhood glitches, I'll be honest with you, considering everything that's happened, it scares the crap out of me. Because every time it glitches, something massively bad happens. I don't know why. I mean, the last drop off we had was freaking brutal, man. So let's pull up the Bitwise XRP ETF. Currently seeing at 21.92. So it's definitely come up since its $20.44 low today. So XRP is improving and the ETF is improving. And again, the more important thing is the inflows of XRP, that is, or the outflows of XRP actually being removed from supply. Let's see here. So ultimately, even though we are in the midst of a pullback and a price shock, or not price shock, pullback and, you know, teetering on the knife of a recession, as well as, you know, liquidity crisis, XRP is still flying off the shelf. I know the price is going down, but what was it? 53 million. There it goes. These are the important numbers, and there's people coming in, and I'm going to sound like I'm beating a dead horse, but I'm going to repeat these numbers to you every chance I get. 53,743,000 XRP left supply in one day, thanks to one ETF. That is just the Bitwise ETF. We have confirmed from Bloomberg that there are possible 3 ETFs going live on Monday: Franklin Templeton, Grayscale, and 21 shares. So we have 2 ETFs that pulled 200 million XRP off of the shelf in 1 week. And we're getting 3 more, potentially 5 more total next week. That is a lot of XRP leaving exchanges. And we covered yesterday in our stream that there's only about 3.5 billion XRP left. So, and that wasn't my data. That was AI data. That was Google AI. We searched it together. So eventually we're going to run out of that XRP, guys. It's going to happen. Coinbase has been super annoying too lately with buying. The exchanges in general have been really bad lately. Tomorrow, ISO 20022 goes live. What are your thoughts on this? Okay, so again, I covered this a little bit yesterday, and I'll cover it again today. To me, Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. I'll come back to the chat. Keep it going, guys. I love the engagement. I want to have a party. Let's go. So to me, with ISO 20022, it is a messaging standard. I don't think it's going to have much impact on the price other than it will link, makes the XRP for them to use because it is compliant with ISO 20022. However, that does nothing to make them use XRP. But it is another peg in the notch of adoption and utility because it is available there. Now, the question is if they're going to use it. And I think the bigger issue is going to happen with the Fed Master account and with the bank charter because that plugs them in to actually use the asset, whereas the messaging standard is just passing of information. So I really don't think that it's going to have as massive as an impact as people thought. My opinion, not financial advice. I think the bigger issue is going to be the utility being, it is a utility piece, which is important. And it factors into the whole grand scheme of the fact that they are the only one of the very few ledgers that is compliant. So when banks are choosing these, and you think of all the institutional adoption, all the acquisitions that Ripple has done over the last 2 years, who is better positioned for them to use? I think that's the main concept. It's all part of the same pie. My opinion, not financial advice. But I don't think ISO 20022 is going to be a magic switch. I do not. Let's see. Please remember what Buffett said. Be greedy when the market is fearful and fearful when the market is greedy. I just bought more XRP and SUI. There's another quote that I like from Warren Buffett. And because someone asked him, I was watching an interview and someone asked him, why it seems like you have a pretty easy structure to get rich. Why do more people not listen to you? And why do more people not follow you? And what he said was so true. He's like, because everyone wants to get rich quick. And I'm all about getting rich slow. So if you want to get rich, it's slow and steady. And that's just like what you guys are talking about. You have to read the market when you have to buy on the cheap and do the smart thing. And again, not financial advice, but I'm just, race fan. I agree with you. Buffett is a very, very smart man, and he has decades and decades and decades of knowledge in an industry that people just don't want to listen to because they want to make money faster. My opinion, not financial advice. So let's go here. What else we got? I think that is, I think we're going to call it today, guys. I think that's all the information we have. Excited for the ETFs coming up on Monday. Make sure you're subscribed. I will be doing a roundup covering everything that has happened this week on tomorrow evening. For those of you who don't like the live streams and who want the long form videos, I will be doing my weekly roundup tomorrow. Again, 3 ETFs are slated to go live on the 24th. Franklin Templeton, Franklin Templeton, 21 shares, and Grayscale. Again, still awaiting confirmation from the exchange on those, but that is the rumor. Till next video, guys. I'll see you later.